So just a little while back, I reviewed a little fantastic movie called The Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre. And after doing that review, I was contacted by Mike Carey, who played Skull Manson in the movie. And after speaking for a bit, he recommended that I watch this movie. So what do you do when Skull Manson recommends that you watch a movie? You watch that fucking movie! Boys from County Hell is brought to us by director Chris Baugh and stars Jack Rowan and Nigel O'Neill. So Boys from County Hell came out last year in the decade that was 2020, and it premiered earlier this year exclusively on Shudder. We follow a group of friends in a small Irish town that's claim to fame is that supposedly it is where the first vampire came from. They claim that Bram Stoker came there and stole the idea when he wrote Dracula. Now nobody really believes this or anything, but once again, it's a tourist attraction for the town that doesn't really have much more going on there. When the supposed gravesite of this vampire is disrupted due to construction for a new bypass, some weird things start to happen in the town. And by weird, I mean that bodies start to drop in the town and a whole lot of blood starts to flow. So now it's up to our odd little group of friends to figure out how to get this vampire back in the ground once and for all. So Boys from County Hell is not your traditional vampire story. In fact, it is pretty different. It has quite a different take on the whole vampire mythology thing. And they play into that quite a bit in the movie to comedic effect at times. This movie does have some really funny moments of observational humor, but I wouldn't consider it a full-on comedy. While there is some pretty comedic moments in the film, there are also some pretty hardcore horror moments as well. When they turn the horror on, they turn that shit up to 11 in this movie, and it is legit. Now the story does start to drag just for a bit right before everything pops off, but only for about a minute or two before they ramp everything back up. For the most part, the movie does have a really great pace and a really entertaining story, but the story is not what really keeps you as involved with the movie. It's the characters. This is a very character-driven movie. Yeah, the situation they're in and all the cool stuff about the vampire is really neat, but it is all the characters. This is all on them. And to go along with those characters is some really great dialogue. These feel like real, likable characters, and by the time we get to the part of the story where everything starts going crazy, you do actually fear for them. You don't want bad things to happen to these characters. And that right there showed me that they did a really good job building these characters because I care. Now all that great dialogue wouldn't mean shit if we didn't have good performances to go with it. And thankfully, I wasn't disappointed in that department. Everybody here did a really solid job. While Jack Rowan as our main Eugene is a character that you can get behind and you want to follow, it's his dad, played by Nigel O'Neill, that really steals the show. Anytime this guy is on screen, he's a joy to watch. And his contribution to the end of the movie is pretty fucking epic. I mean, really, that shit's fucked up. What happens at the end of this movie is funny, horrifying, and just kind of nasty all at once. I'm just gonna say, the leg. Now, one place in the character department that we were kind of sorta let down a bit would be our villain. He is a really neat villain and all the stuff surrounding him is very interesting, but as far as the villain himself goes, we don't really get much. We hear people talk about him a lot, but we don't get much as far as that character goes. There's not much to develop that character. And I do wish we'd had a bit more there. However, I will say not knowing much about this villain did make him seem that much more mysterious and a bit more menacing. So I guess it is a bit of a catch-22, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, I do wish we got a little bit more, just a little bit, out of this villain. Now, while I wanted a bit more out of the villain, I'll tell you somewhere that they absolutely satisfied me, and that is the gore. Do you like blood? Because if you do, there's a whole lot of it in this movie, and it all looks fantastic. This movie's not like an effects showcase or anything, but the effects that are here all look really good, especially the gore effects. And while there is a healthy amount of practical work here, I think that there's also some CGI, but the CGI work here looks really good. And you'll have plenty of opportunity to see it because this movie is bloody as hell. They got blood over here, blood over there, just blood everywhere. It's just coming out of orifices left and right. So yeah, good time. This wasn't your typical vampire movie, and I really appreciated how it subverted my expectations as far as that genre goes. Guys, Boys from County Hell was a bloody good time. Like, really bloody. While it is a bit slower to get started than you initially think it's gonna be, the characters absolutely make up for that, and it is never boring. It takes a tried and true genre and flips it on its head and throws in just a touch of humor to make things all that much more better. We got some really solid performances and great effects, and the movie is just the right balance of funny and horrifying and always bloody, and what else it is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I had a great great time with this movie, and thanks to Mike Carey, aka Skull Manson, for recommending it. And that right there is the only reason you need to watch this movie. Skull Manson said go watch it, so go watch it. So there it is, guys, my review of Boys from County Hell. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys. And possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, County Hell.
Oh, come on, like, what are we supposed to do about this?
So as I mentioned, there's a lot of blood in this movie, but there's one scene in particular that we actually get 2 times in the film that really just kind of grossed me out. It probably wouldn't do it to everybody, but for me personally it did. And it happens in the very beginning of the movie, and we also get it about at the halfway point. There's a man in a house and his eyes start to bleed. But not like a little bit, like, I mean, they turn the literal fucking waterworks on and blood just starts like pouring out of this guy's eyeballs, and it looks really, really good. Like good in a like real way. It looks like it's actually happening. And I got like an eye thing, and like when they put things in eyes and stuff happens to people's eyeballs in movies, it really freaks me the fuck out. So that shit was happening, it was just coming out, and I was just like, oh my god. Stop! Yeah, I know I got issues. Don't act like you don't.